I was recently watching The Bear on Disney Plus, and there was this scene that has basically inspired this whole video.
I'm just peeling mushrooms for the lamb de tournelle.
Peeling mushrooms.
Yeah, it's just a nice little fun detail, so when the diners see it, they know that someone spent a lot of time on their dish.
One of the major themes of this show is the pursuit of excellence and caring about little tiny details. And it made me think about watchmakers who do the same. Like the ones that polish little bits that no one is going to see, but they still care about a lot. I also think the mood right now for watch enthusiasts is pretty low. There's been a lot of price increases. I feel like I'm getting priced out of the watches that I love the most. And the world feels like it's falling apart. So I'm gonna try to not be bitter. I'm gonna try to not be overwhelmed and just talk about watchmakers that I love and respect and who are so insanely devoted to their craft. This video will be divided into 4 different sections. So for 1, haute horology, 2, mainstream, 3, Japanese watchmakers, and 4, brands that I missed but I still need to talk about. So if we're talking about the tippy top end of hand finishing master watchmaking, it's impossible not to start with Philippe Dufour. He is arguably the greatest living watchmaker, although that can be said for everyone on this list, and paved the way for independent watchmaking as we know it today, becoming one of the first independent watchmakers to present a watch in his own name at the Basel Fair in 1992. He was the first watchmaker to put the sonnerie complication in a wristwatch, which was previously only ever seen in pocket watches. Dufour timepieces are incredibly classical. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel, he's trying to make the most beautiful and perfect wheel. Philippe Dufour is the benchmark for hand finishing, finishing every single watch himself by hand, only making 15 to 18 watches per year. Kari Voutilainen is regarded as one of the greatest living watchmakers, and his work is marked by exceptional hand finishing, and he is one of the few modern watchmakers who has mastered both movements and craft dials. There's something about Voutilainen that always feels unexpected. So he's Finnish and studied watchmaking there, that's pretty unique, and in 1988 he joined Michel Parmigiani as his 17th employee, and they were revered as the greatest restoration shop in Switzerland in the 1980s and 90s. In 1999, he had this deep itch to start his own brand, and here we are now. Voutilainen watch design is distinct and hard to define. Heavily inspired by Breguet, usually featuring a double wheel or natural escapement, he develops his own calibers, but began by using movement blanks, typically made by Lecout or Louis Piguet. Exceptional finishing, everything is hand finished, including the frosted German silver plates, polished pinions, and I'd include having large balance wheels with unique balance springs as a distinctive. I heavily associate the design language with Breguet hands, hand guilloche dials, but he's also happy to do not guilloche dials as well, like with the KV20i. I'm blabbing. He generally makes 50 to 60 watches per year. They are exceptional. If you're lucky enough to see one of these in person, really take your time with it. Take it in. They're exceptional. If you follow this channel, you will know Francois-Paul Journe, or FP Journe, is my favorite watchmaker. His designs are unmistakable, the movements are beautiful and ambitious, while still being very classical. I find Journe to be an interesting case study in that they are a breakout indie. They are kinda breaking out of the niche collector world and into more of the mainstream zeitgeist. They have created their own lane without relying on gimmicks. They are becoming almost completely vertically integrated, owning its own case maker and dial maker. The only brands I can think of as vertically integrated as this is Rolex and Seiko. And the watches are exceptional. My favorite models include the Resonance, amazing watch featuring 2 independent movements and balance wheel that fall into acoustic resonance, carrying on the work of Abraham Louis Breguet and John Arnold, notably in the field of chronometry as well. Ooh, chronometry, another Journe distinctive as well. So caring deeply about the distribution of power and trying to make it as linear as possible using a double barrel with 2 springs to ensure stability of the driving force. Journe designs speak to me. I love the ethos, I love the design, I love everything. I'm lucky enough to own the Elegant. It's the only Journe I can afford, but maybe one day I'll be able to get more. Okay, so if FP Journe is my favorite watchmaker, Laurent Ferrier is my second, and there's not a lot in it. Laurent Ferrier has been a part of some of the biggest moments for Patek Philippe. He's also a racing driver. In June 1979, he drove a Porsche 935 Turbo at Le Mans, finishing third overall just behind Paul Newman. And now he produces his own watches under his name that are subtle and beautiful. I like to think of Laurent as like the heir to Swiss watchmaking. He is a son and a grandson of watchmakers. After training in watchmaking, his first job was at Patek Philippe, where he worked on the prototype of the Genta design Nautilus. I'm going to go on a quick tangent here. I think, especially with Genta designs, we go so gaga for the designers that we forget about the engineers, the craftspeople, the movement makers who need to make these designs actually work. You can see his experience with the Nautilus coming through on the Sport Auto. Soft lines, the polishing on the bezel and chamfer edges, very Patek, but remains sporty, and the indices and handset almost feel aggressive. His designs are very soft and refined. Nothing is in your face, even when he does complication, like the Grand Sport Tourbillon. The complication is hidden with the movement, not on display from the front. It is for the wearer to know and to appreciate. I love his sensibilities, so Swiss, and I'm endlessly fascinated by him as a person. He's from this era where men would have a midlife crisis, decide they're a race car driver, and then just go back to their regular jobs. I love it. Okay, notable shoutouts. Watchmakers brands I already regret not including. Rich Happy represents the next generation of high horology. I really think I should have added Grubel Forzi. I am now regretting not having a long section about them. Masters of extreme finishing. Simone Brett should have been there too. There's so many watchmakers I could gush about. If you're liking this video and want to see more, oh, there are so many more I could add. But maybe no one will watch this, so... Next section, mainstream. High finishing, high levels of care and craft isn't just reserved for independent watchmakers. I believe there are more established brands who are doing this as well. Starting with Vacheron Constantin. I am a bit hesitant with watch brands that are subsidiaries. The big reason I believe VC still cares about craft over profits is with some of the projects they've come out with these last couple of years. Firstly, the Celeria Ultra Grand Complication, the most complicated wristwatch ever made as of the time of filming, packing in 41 complications, 5 rare astronomical functions, and a Westminster minute repeater. This is the result of 8 years of research and development and 13 unique patents. They didn't have to make this. This is not for sale. It is one of one, no price set. They just wanted the project of making it. So they paid to set a team of talented watchmakers and designers to create this over 8 years, just so they could. I've been a big fan of Lange Sohne for years now. I mean, their designs are fantastic, huge amount of detail into the craft side, and really distinguishing themselves as the tippy top of mainstream German watchmaking. Same disclaimer as Vacheron, I'm slow to trust subsidiaries. ALS is also a part of Richemont, but there's a few things they've got so right, it's impossible to ignore. Really fun fact, really quickly, Philippe Dufour, possibly the greatest living watchmaker, wears a datograph. In an interview with Hodinkee, he stated it as the best chronograph ever made. So, I mean, if it's good enough for Philippe Dufour, it's probably good enough for this list. So I really believe ALS cares about their watchmaking to a very high degree and are carrying on the legacy of German craftsmanship under the name of the greatest German watchmaker. Founded in 1849 by Ferdinand Adolf Lange in Glashütte, Lange began the tradition of watchmaking in Glashütte, training more watchmakers and bringing the craft to Germany. After the fallout of World War II, Saxony was labeled East Germany and came under the Soviet nationalism, and high-end watchmaking in the region disappeared. Then, in 1990, after the reunification of Germany, Walter Lange revived the brand, relaunching with iconic models like the Lange 1. I've said it so many times, the story of German watchmaking is a profoundly human one. It's the story of how capable we are of rebuilding from the rubble, and ALS has earned every bit of their reputation through fantastic, ambitious watchmaking. I mean, we can't talk about high horology in the mainstream without talking about Patek Philippe. I don't care if the Cubitist rubbed you wrong. I don't care if you think the Nautilus is too much hype. Patek is high complication, high finishing, outstanding watchmaking. They don't really pay celebrities to endorse their products. They don't sponsor events. They make minute repeaters, perpetual calendars, split-second chronographs in a subdued, conservative style of watchmaking. Fun fact, they actually invented the annual calendar complication in 1996 as a midway point between the very high complication of the perpetual calendar and simple calendars. A lot of people think the annual calendar came before the perpetual calendar, or around the same time, because that makes sense, because it is the simpler complication. But perpetual calendars had existed in pocket watches since the 18th century, so no one really thought of making something in between until Patek released the reference 5035, providing a very useful complication at a much more affordable price. You just need to watch out for leap years. Once again, I don't care if you think the Cubitist is stupid, if you think that release was overrated, I don't care if you think the Nautilus is overhyped. Patek is the benchmark for quality artistry and innovation in the luxury watch industry for a reason. I would consider them to be the best mainstream watchmaker in the world. Japanese watchmaking. I'm so excited. Japan needs a whole section unto themselves. The Japanese interpretation of watchmaking is exceptional, like any fine product made in Japan, and it's an expression that I love. Let's start with my personal favorite, Hajime Asaoka, and I'm so sorry, Japanese viewers. I'm gonna say a lot of names and words wrong, and I'm gonna try my best. So, Asaoka, I would describe his designs as classical, avant-garde, and next-level craftsmanship. He is self-taught, and it all started from reading George Daniels' watchmaking book. He then watched YouTube tutorials on how to use machines he purchased online from, like, eBay. And like a lot of the greats we've talked about already today, he took to it naturally. It only took him 4 years to develop an in-house tourbillon. He was born to do this, and it shows in his work. Asaoka also founded Kurono Tokyo for those who wanted to purchase his designs but didn't have £100,000 lying around. Kurono uses off-the-shelf movements and his own designs, and they sell closer to the £5,000 price point. Okay, moving on. We're now going to talk about Naoya Hida, and I just need to warn you. You know, sometimes when a word doesn't sit in the right place of your mouth, Naoya Hida is one of those names for me, so if I say it wrong or say it really embarrassingly, I'm just awkward. Design-wise, they offer a Japanese take on vintage Swiss style. Unlike Asaoka, Hida has a Swiss watch industry background, with time spent at JLC, Vacheron, Breguet, FP Journe, and Ralph Lauren's watch division, which all led to the founding of his own name brand in 2018. I'd say these are best known for silver dials, deep hand-engraved numerals, and moon phase watches. It would be the absolute dream for me to own something like the Type 3B. Only about 10 pieces were produced between 2025 and 2026. It would be a true honor to own something like this. Beautiful watchmaking. I really wanted to finish this section with Otsuka Lotec. I think they're so exciting, and they're a brand that's finally getting the recognition that they deserve. They are creating, I would say, some of the most unique and exciting designs that are still wearable and genuinely delightful to see. Founded by Jiro Katayama, who was really a watch enthusiast who loved design. He worked as an industrial designer on cars and appliances, which really comes through in his work. His pieces feel industrial and like someone who has spent time out of the watch industry, which is refreshing. His pieces are powered by Miyota movements, which is to say they're actually kind of affordable, or normal people can afford them, priced around $3,000 USD-ish. But the big problem is actually getting a hold of one, especially outside of the Japanese domestic market. Otsuka Lotec is a treasure to the watch industry, and I hope Katayama keeps designing more. We need voices like his. Okay, there is not enough time in the day. There are so many brands I missed, so let's rapid fire some brands that should be on here, should have been talked about, but I didn't have time. Firstly, Lange Söhne, amazing German high-end brand operating out of Dresden. They are 95% in-house, opulent, beautiful, bravo. Romain Gaultier, I don't know how Gaultier didn't have his whole own section in here. If I do a part 2, there will be an exhaustive section. Independent watchmaker, innovative, bold, precise, and he cares about everything to the finest detail. He's almost like if Richard Mille watches looked normal. He uses exciting materials, eye-catching designs, innovative in-house movements, and extremely high levels of hand finishing. If I had more money than I do, I'd be buying the C Titanium edition all day, every day. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. I don't know if I should do a part 2 to this. I think no one's gonna watch it, but I had so much fun making it. So sometimes you gotta do ones for you. This one was one for me. It brought me joy. Hopefully it brought you joy. I've been having a hard time with the state of the world, and it's hard for me not to get bitter and feel anxious. So it's really nice making videos like this where I get lost in people who care about their craft so much, who are so devoted to what they do, that it's all consuming. It's really beautiful to remember there are people out there who care about craftsmanship, excellence, and making beautiful things, artistry over money. And I want to do more of that myself. That's how I want to be. Anyways, thank you so much for your viewership, and thank you to the Pope tier patrons. Their names will be on the screen right now. Hello, Pope tier patrons! Hello, all tier patrons! Thank you so much! Thank you for watching to the end, and thank you for supporting my weird little channel. I hope you continue to enjoy the work we do here. I love making these videos. I think you're awesome, and we'll see you in the next one.